Do something that attracts everyone's attention.
Jungle music for me was formed at Rage back in the early 90s. Myself and Fabio were playing acid house and various raves at that time. And there was a new sound coming through called hip house. It incorporated a breakbeat. I myself was attracted to that kind of sound because I was a hip hop kid growing up, so breakbeats was a big deal to me, and like trying to mix that with house music was the one. Calm Down is a track I actually found in a record store. I went to a record store in Brixton, Red Records, and my friend Funky D was working there. And he knew that I was attracted to like the more breaky sound of house at the time. And he played this to me. And this track's called Calm Down. And Calm Down is not actually a jungle tune. It's a hip hop tune when we speed it up to 45. Records would like normally play, the imports were normally at 33.
Yeah.
I played this at 45 and it just sounded like
madness, man.
It sounded like hip house, but without the forward to the floor.
Yeah.
Which totally blew my mind. So I started to seek out more tunes like it. This is actually quite technical. I'm actually a genius, I think. No, but normally you get a hip hop tune, we'd be ruffling through, going to a record store and going through hip hop tunes, and they normally sound like this. But with the assistance of like Technics 1210s, faders, and new dual speeds, we could get it to sound like this. Which is jungle, pretty much.
So this track, which I thought was called Blood Vibes, it isn't, it's actually called Jump on It. And this was masters at work. And what they used to do, they're a house outfit, and they used to have house tracks on the A side. On the B side, because I think Kenny Dope was a hip hop boy, he used to just put breaks. So this is the original. And then of course we used to speed it up, put it to 45, and it sounded like this. But you've got to remember, at this time, there weren't no jungle tunes around. So we used to just kind of mix these tunes with house tunes. And that used to they used to call it like tech jungle, so it was kind of techno jungle influence. Jungle techno, that's it. Jungle techno, and then it kind of just turned into jungle, and that breakbeat influence kind of sound kind of took over. When we started to create the sound, what started to happen, we realised on the dance floor at Rage that people were kind of gravitating towards that kind of breakbeat sound. You've got to remember, Rage was a house club, and we used to throw in the odd kind of breaks, and we just noticed that the crowd kind of gravitated towards that kind of sound. So little by little, the first tune that I can remember was We.I.E. I remember hearing that and I was thinking, that's what me and Groove have been wanting to hear for a little while.
We.I.E. was sounding like hip house.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It was a British version of hip house, pretty much.
With lots of sub bass and
it's faster.
Faster, and it just had a different kind of vibe.
And the break was more prominent in it as well.
100%. And then we started to get labels like Ibiza Records and Living Dream, and before we knew it, there was kind of like, we could actually do a set of breakbeat influenced tunes. So yeah, that's how it kind of moved from Calm Down to it becoming jungle. We.I.E. Champion Sound as well.
LFO,
oh god, yeah, LFO.
Renegade Soundwave, yeah. The Phantom.
Yeah. There's so many tunes.
So many. Yeah.
So many.
All day quoting. You have to remember, Rage wasn't just about jungle.
No, it wasn't. No, you're right.
Rage came before jungle.
Yeah, for real.
You have to remember, we innovated jungle at Rage. So there's a whole history of acid house and house music to talk about as well.
You also got to remember as well, we played, even at, it's only probably the last year, but up to the last year, we were playing 80% house. You know, we were playing a very small section of jungle. So house music has got to be talked about as well. It was mainly house, especially when we first started in the main room. We were mainly playing house music. You know, we were playing stuff like Roger Sanchez. We used to play B-sides of house mixes. Dave Morales used to do a thing called Red Zone mixes. We used to play a lot of that stuff. And then we incorporated it with breakbeat stuff.
It was probably the most innovative music club there was at that time. And there was a lot, because you have to remember that was the rave generation, the real rave generation. Rave was just a new thing, so everybody was out, everybody was going out like the M25 parties and whatever, but they always met up at Rage on a Thursday.
Yeah, and you know, Rage, you got to remember, before we even started playing at Rage, it was a night, it was already a night. Colin Faber, Trevor Pong.
It was a thing.
It was a thing, but then we played upstairs in the Star Bar, and we went in there and we done our kind of unique take on dance music, and
we earned our stripes, basically.
We earned our stripes, yeah, we really did. And it's like, it really was, we were DJs playing in the second room, but
we was carrying so much people, we were emptying the main dance floors.
Crazy.
So Kevin Millins had to reassess what was going on and try and change things about.
Yeah, because the balance weren't right, because it's literally, we had everyone in room 2 and hundreds of people on the stairs trying to get in, while the main dance floor was kind of empty. So he was kind of like, what is going on here?
If jungle hadn't come along, I'd still be playing house music. That's my first love. I tell anybody that. That's my first love of dance music, is house music. And you know, for me, I used to listen to, you know, disco and all funk and hip hop beforehand, but house captured me, it caught me and made me want to do what I do today.
You got to remember, it caught us at a certain age, at a certain point in our lives, when we was kind of like, you know, we was coming out of being teenagers, we were young men, and you know, we wanted to venture into something different. And this, to me and Groove, we'd been listening to funk, but you got to remember, Real Groove was music from the 70s and the 60s, and we missed that era. But so we really got into that. But this was completely the opposite. This was the future, and me and Groove caught onto it real quick. You got to remember, let's not forget, there wasn't that many people into it. You know, houses, when you look at house music now, worldwide, it's the biggest music out there, but
it wasn't like that.
It weren't like that. There was a couple of nightclubs that played house. Do you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people that say they were there, they weren't there.
I mean, when you break it down, acid house was the antichrist of music at the time.
It was.
Probably kind of like jungle is now.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was like, it was the bad child of music.
Yeah, people frowned on it because there was involvement. People involved it with drugs. People saying it was devil music. People didn't get it. It was going really fast, and you know, it was a complete departure from funk and hip hop. And
remember, the other side of it as well is like the homophobism back in the day.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
House music was prevalent among gay communities. They loved it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, coming from where I come from, people used to say, oh, if you listen to house music, it's going to turn you gay and stuff like that. Just real homophobic nonsense.
Shit. Yeah.
But I've always had in my head, how can music ever be gay? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
So I never went with that, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at where we are today.
Yeah, we were some of the first black DJs to play house music in the UK. But then I've got to give a big shout out to Steve Jackson, who played house music, Colin Dale, who was black and played house music, and Carl Cox. But there was a handful of us. You know, even Frosty and Brian were playing house music. But, you know, there was...
You have to remember, at that time, a lot of black guys couldn't even get into nightclubs.
Yeah, for real.
That's how deep that shit was. So
that's real talk.
That's what people need to remember. It was we battled for our music. Do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We battled to be able to play it. We battled to even to get into nightclubs.
To get into the nightclubs.
That's the area we come from.
You know, that's one of the reasons why we became DJs. To get into nightclubs.
Just to get in.
That's not even a joke. And also you got to remember, when Acid House started, a lot of it came from Ibiza with Paul Oakenfold, Johnny Walker, Colin Hudd. We were kind of coming with a different take. We were coming with a more black take on the music. And I remember I remember house DJs saying, you know, why don't you play vocals? Why do you not just play rhythm tracks? And we weren't into the vocal thing. We were more into kind of like rolling out and, you know,
Rhythms.
the original rollers.
Yeah, you know, the African drums.
The African drums and that kind of
dealing
vibe.
with.
That's what we gravitated to, and vocals kind of just spoiled it all up.
Hence moving towards the breakbeat element
There you go.
of house.
So that also goes back to breakbeat and finding raw beats and speeding them up. Because that vocal thing weren't really us. We were just into the tribal side of things, man.
Yeah, I find it surreal.
Do you know what though, as well? I'm really proud.
Can't not be proud.
When I see how big drum and bass is now, you've got drum and bass festivals, you know, drum and bass, you know, everyone starts going, oh, I don't want drum and bass to sell out. Who cares about that? You know, it's just
Sell out. It doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't even make sense.
BPM. You can't sell out.
Exactly. You can't sell this thing out. So, you know, we're just really intensely proud that we're, you know, attached to the beginnings of this music. And, you know, and see drum and bass now, I don't feel no way at all about guys that have made, you know, become superstars out of it. Because
I don't feel anything.
I don't feel any way about that. I feel proud.
Yeah, because
I'm
like,
proud
at
of
the end
those
the day,
guys.
if you look in a dictionary and you put down jungle drum and bass, you'll see our names next to
Yeah,
it. That's the bottom line. And there's
For real.
no bigger accomplishment than that.
That is true. That is so true. That is so true. So the bigger it gets, you know, the more
the
people,
more I'll be loved.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually have more passion for it than I ever have, because I'm always on the hunt for new music and the new artists, and being the first to do something else and being on the first to do. I like being first to things. I'm still on that mindset. If I even hear another DJ aside from Fabio play a tune, I won't play it again.
Yeah,
I'm still on
no,
that
it's true.
mindset.
No,
I'm still on that
100%.
mindset.
I hear that.
I just love new music and new artists, and to have a circuit that we've actually managed to build up with so many people around us that we all grew with, it's beautiful. And
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
and we haven't. Everybody thinks drum and bass is massive, but we haven't even touched what techno does or what house music does. We've got a long way to go.
Yeah, true. But I think it's getting there.
It's getting there.
And you know, and also, you know, we've got to give props to the young guys coming through.
Exactly.
You know, the guys like
them,
Boo.
there's no us.
Exactly. Guys like Boo, K Motions, K9, all of those guys are moving it on. And it's great to see it, because, you know, me and Groove always strive for new music. And even if we don't understand it, you know, we try and appreciate, I try and understand it, even if it's out of my comfort zone or what I normally listen to.
Incorporate something that's there that will work with what's going on, even if it's not my thing.
Because we always want to play music for young people as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not just kind of like playing for the older crowd. The young people are very important to us.